Hi everyone, Martin here and welcome to the Inner Loop. In this episode of the Entropy Files, we're going to talk to Patrick Bartmess. Patrick is a great friend of mine. I've never met him, he's on the other side of the Atlantic, but we've worked together and collaborated on a number of projects. In this episode, he has risen to the challenge of creating a soundtrack to the 1 hour videos that I talked about in the introduction. Patrick actually made 3 soundtracks, so if you see the links below, there's 3 videos you can go and have a look at. I was in such a hurry to talk to Patrick that I actually didn't record it very well. So please bear with me, because you've only got 3/4 of the screen. I hope you enjoy our discussion from the 18th of July 2025. I'll hand you over to Patrick. First question to you is, what do you think this project was actually about?
Well, I watched the videos and I got the idea that if you just glance at it, watch it for a few minutes, you see that nothing's changing, you're like, boring video, and you're done. But you realize you're watching an hour-long video, and just with a little bit of information that you had provided, that this was part of a generative process, you could see that there were changes occurring after 15 minutes, after 30 minutes. So I got that, and I was like, that is a fascinating thing. And how do you translate that to music? How do you translate that to sound, really? And how do you make that sound sort of marry up to the image when the image doesn't really have a meaning? Like, how do you create meaning? What is, like, that was the challenge that I saw.
I think that was pretty close to what I put in. I think in terms of the email I sent you, the initial brief, I think that's pretty much all I kind of said was, that. I think okay. That's, yeah. Anything else? Did it give you any other thoughts when you saw it?
Well, I think maybe one of my responses was my reflections about Brian Eno's Thursday Afternoon. Did we talk about that? Did I mention that?
You emailed about it.
Okay. That was my only experience of a long form video that where the meaning is something else besides the fact that you're watching a video of a thing. Well, and I hesitate to call it abstract art or conceptual art. I don't know how to describe it, because it's any time we try to do that, it turns into something really heady and inaccessible. When people try to describe stuff that's like meta conceptual. So I did not attempt to define it. I just experienced the video.
Yep. And
got a feeling about what it feels like to sit and just experience a visual experience that has no real specific meaning. And that's what I wanted to do that's how I wanted to create a generative piece. And it didn't necessarily have to match up to the video. That was like, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to describe what's going to happen on this screen with music. That's off the table. What I'm going to try to do is describe this experience of having an audio experience that doesn't necessarily have a narrative.
Oh, wow, that's great. I sent you 3 videos. Would you say any one of them was particularly your favourite? Was there one that caught your eye, or they're all, or does that fit into the same thing, which is, they're all just of a form?
I had 2 favorites. One was Nowhere, because it was just a beautiful visual experience, like the colors and the way they moved and the way they were placed on the screen was beautiful to watch. It was just a lovely changing picture. And the other one, oh, I can't remember what it was called. It's called Somewhere. It's the pitch. It starts out with a landscape, and
Mm-hmm.
then it integrates into something else. I like that because I liked it because it had a meaning for me. I could see from beginning to end. There's kind of a coy change in the meaning from landscape, which is kind of a macro, to me that the end of the video looks like sort of a bed of lichen or some bacteria growth or something. So it's like from macro to micro, and so I
That's
liked that a lot. And the colors of it, I like the colors at the end. I really liked the way they seemed like natural colors in a weird way, but then in the way that in the Iceland uh, 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 volcanic pools. Have you ever seen videos or pictures of stuff that happens there? Like the weirdest colors come out. That's kind of like it's natural, but in the most majestic way.
absolutely, because the thing about the video is that there's no pixels are wasted. They only swap about.
Right, they're swapping. That's right.
There's not a single
That's
pixel
right.
wasted in the whole thing. It's always the same pixels. They're just in different places. It's just a translocation
Oh,
of,
I forgot about that.
yeah. So
That's
that's why in the end it looks this, it still has the same quality, I think,
hmm
because, nothing's lost. Yeah. Um, a musical question. I've got to make an hour of music. What tools? I mean, behind you is a modular. What tools did you consider? What did you think about? What tools shall I use? Shall I sample something? Shall I use a modular? Shall I just twang the guitar and just let that go for an hour? Or shall I do a Lou Reed? What tools did you think about?
Well, I my immediate idea was to use the synthesizer. Like that was when you propose it. I'm like, oh, that's a good modular synthesizer project for me, like without question. So, and I know that's a big. I mean, there are some modular synthesizers that are all sampler based, but mine is not. I'm gonna switch over. You see it in the background?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just use this sequencer and that sequence. I use three sequencers and a filter and various envelope generators to uh, to create very slow ramps for the oscillators. So that I think I just used two voices, two
Hmm.
oscillator voices for the most part. I think maybe, well, I only have three oscillators, so
Yeah.
I didn't use more than three. Intensely curious to hear what they came up with because this is the first time I've ever tried to make a generative piece where I didn't do anything except patch it up and then say go.
Mm.
That was, and I purposefully did not go searching for other people's generative pieces because I didn't want that to affect. I mean, I think the most fun part of this for me is the discovery of how to do it. And for me, I think that's how you use. That's the best use of the synthesizer of the modular synthesizer is as like an exploration and using, I guess, logic, but in a creative way. Like I know what I want to hear. How can I make this do it? And I've learned.
That's exactly why I tried to approach people with a modular, because I figured that this would lend itself very well to modular synthesis because you plug it in and you can just leave it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, I guess, get your Roland and do a hindback and put a playing card in the keys and leave it droning or something. But
hmm Yeah.
so I suppose the question I just asked is what tools did you consider, and the
hmm
second question that goes with that is what was your approach, and I guess you've said what your approach is. Your approach was to wire it up and go.
Yeah. And
Did you though wire it up and then come back and go, oh, it's not quite what I was thinking, or did you literally just do it in one take?
no, I did. Well, I wired it up to make sure that it was doing in general what I
Hmm.
wanted.
Hmm.
And each time I made a patch, I would listen to it for, a good 10, 15 minutes and listen to see, like, is it actually changing? I don't think that's changing. And then, like, do something else, like twiddle it to make it, like, actually. I guess I did make it. I uh my impulse is to make it interesting, even though I know it's not supposed to be interesting. But I want it to be I want it to be pretty. And so that was also that I guess that was part of my process, is making sure that it sounded nice, because I wanted someone to listen to it all the way through.
Okay,
And there
so
were
if it had been discordant or uncomfortable, you would have stopped and gone back.
So there's some things I needed to know about music theory that I didn't know.
Ah.
So I did learn a bit about chords and keys and stuff like that, because I noticed when I used these two, I wanted to have two oscillators working in parallel with each
Hmm.
other, and I needed to to reduce their ranges so that at least some of the notes sounded good together. And I think that's sort of like the theory of jazz, is that, like, if they all sound good together, that's not really interesting. But if they all sound bad, it's not you're not going to listen. So it's like a balance. So that was what I was listening for. And then that was for, like, the first one. I was, like,
Hmm.
focused on that. And then once I got that idea, that was when I recorded it, and then started another patch, like, the next day or so, and used those ideas to actually make it more harmonious, but still a little more, I don't know, a little more. It changed more. That one changed a lot more.
I felt the second one was very much richer and fuller. I think you put a lot more. I think maybe the timing was less between the notes and you got more in there.
Yeah,
I listened to number one. I thought this is very light, very gentle. And the number two was like much fuller. There was a lot more
yeah,
going on. Yeah, I thought
yeah.
the progression between your three are actually really fascinating. It's quite sparse, full, and then the last one is just it's pure jazz.
It's got yeah. That's got yeah. That the last one's pretty interesting. And I I remember going to sleep one night trying to figure out in my brain, like, okay, what I want to do is have an A and B section that alternate. How do I do that? I've never even tried to do that on this system. And I woke up the next morning and I had the idea. It was like one of those classic, oh yeah, that's what I need to do. And so luckily I get up a couple hours before work, so I ran downstairs and patched it up real quick. I'm like, yep, that'll work.
Oh wow, that was your approach. Do you think you achieved what you set out to create?
uh, I don't think I've done that yet. No. And there's stuff I don't know. I don't know how to do. And I don't even know how to approach trying to do it. I might have to actually watch people who advertise themselves as generative ambient music
Mm-hmm.
producers, so I know what I need to be listening for, because it didn't change like yours changed. Like, yours has a beginning, which has a form, and an end, which has a different form, and a progression. I want to do that, but I don't know how to do that yet. So
Okay,
I didn't learn what I wanted to learn, but I learned a lot more
but
than I ever
do
did.
you feel like you answered the brief? Do you
Yeah,
feel satisfied with what you came up with?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Satisfied, not not solidly thrilled. but I think that'll take 6 months or something.
Yeah, but we move on, don't we? Yeah, I mean, there's the next project, the next inspiration, isn't there?
Yeah.
This one's done, isn't it? Or is
Yeah,
it?
for now. Well,
It's
I
done.
think I think now that this is in my toolbox, I'm gonna keep trying to make generative pieces until I kind of get like, oh, that's how you do it.
Hmm.
'Cause what I really want is such a slow LFO that you cannot detect it, and that it takes an hour to get from, -5 through 0 to
Hmm.
+5 and back down. Like I want that. I don't have that.
Yeah.
At least I think I don't have that. Maybe maths. Are you familiar with maths?
No. I think you might have done a video on maths, actually.
I might have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a module that make noise makes, and it might have it. I don't know. I'll have to. Maths is like a Swiss Army knife kind
Hmm.
of tool, so
Oh,
it
it's
might be.
just, it might be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I've made a soundtrack of my own, but when you write it with code, you can say, how many minutes is an hour, and you can have something that goes from 0 to the end. So I've actually, in terms of code, it's easy. It's easy to have
Oh,
something that goes from 0 to 1 over an hour, or 2 hours, or 10 hours. It's easy because it's just it's maths, isn't it? It's like it's 0 to this many seconds, and so I managed to get that. I'll talk about my version on a different video in terms of my soundtrack.
okay.
But yeah, did you? I think you might have answered my next question. Actually, my next question is, what did you learn from doing this?
Oh, well, I did partially, and the deeper answer is about my preferences and what I think music is, and like where I stand in terms of ambient music.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned Heimbach, and there's a
Mm.
bunch of other people who create ambient music, like as the capital A genre,
Yeah.
and it's popular on YouTube, and I liked it when I was a youth, and only had a certain number of records that I knew of. So that's all I knew about ambient music was that, like Brian Eno
Yeah.
and Robert Ashley and what other I can't think of them right now.
Mm. You could
But
you
yeah,
could you could look at something like Tubular Bells. I mean, that's it was one of the first pop albums that was like one track, wasn't it, on two sides of.
right.
But that's not ambient, is it? That is a there's a massive progression in Tubular Bells, isn't there? But
There's but there's elements of it.
mm,
It's an amorphous genre. It
mm,
really could be applied to a lot. Stuff like the Berlin School type music. Are you familiar with that? Like
no.
synthesizer music that's very repetitive and kind of space rock kind of music.
Mm,
Well, I mean Pink Floyd was
yeah.
ambient for a while. Did a couple.
But I think maybe, I mean, to aspire to ambience is maybe not what you should be after. Maybe, I think Gareth Miller, I'm really hoping I can get him involved in this. I'm
Yeah,
just,
I'd love to hear what he does with his.
he's just brushed off the modular after not using
Okay.
it for a long time. Gareth has always said to me, and I've always hung on to this, which is don't let other people influence your art. Don't let other people, cloud what it is you feel you should do. So, I don't know whether you should be making ambient, but you should certainly be making Patrick Bartmess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if that's an hour long, that's fine, But this is an exploration, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess getting back to your question,
Hmm. Yeah.
what
What did you learn? Yeah.
my preferences. Like I learned stuff about myself where I like, oh, I have a bias. I don't want to create like boring ambient music because it's all over YouTube, and all you got to do is push a button, and you got like an ambient playlist with a picture of a person, writing at a desk, and that's like I don't want to do that. But at the same time, I like it. I like the music. It
Okay.
has a function for me, and if I can make it the way I want it, then I will. I just sort of opened up this little heart. I opened up my heart a little bit
Yeah. Yeah.
to
Okay.
where I didn't think I needed to.
And maybe you just kind of ripped the label off and had a look underneath to see what it actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any modular learnings? I mean, I guess some people who are like modular nerds are going to be watching this. Any learnings on modular that you want to share? Anything they're like, oh, if you use an orange patch cable, it's amazing.
Yeah. I did learn a lot. Well, I mean, I didn't use any effects at all. Um, to begin with. Like that was my approach. Like I wanted to hear the pure sounds and find out. And then at the very end, I'm like, you know what? I need a little bit of echo, and I just put a little bit of echo on there, and that was it. And everything else, any effect there was the actual sound phasing in with itself or doing something that sound does
Mm-hmm.
inside the circuit. So that was, I mean, I think a lot of people automatically go for the pedals if they want to make something that's like long term, that's
Mm.
like ambient sounding.
Mm.
But I don't think I found that was, and also I learned a lot about how to program a sequencer to work with another sequencer.
Okay.
And I don't know if I can express what I learned, but within my system I have just very few, well, just a very few resources. So I had to learn how to split off a clock to just like, if I wanted to use uh, uh, three sequencers together, then I had to figure out how to use the clock to
To keep
step
them all
them
together.
through. Yeah. Otherwise, it really sounded bad. Like they need to be in sync. And it was so interesting to try to sequence. Okay, how do I say it? There's a kind of a rapid sequence of a melody that can be identified, and I want to change that, like transpose it after a certain number of repetitions, so that it becomes a different melody.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that by using another sequencer operating at a really low rate,
To flip the.
so that each sequence on this one has a voltage that increases the transposition of that one. And I was like, once I figured that out, I'm like, oh, this opens up a whole new set of stuff. And I'm pretty sure people have figured that out before. In fact, one of my modules is made for that to happen. And
Okay.
I learned like, oh, that's what that thing. I had to like actually read manuals
Okay.
that I haven't had to read in years because I just use them as I use them. And yeah, yeah, that was very helpful. And also the way to use a mixer, uh, it's not as straightforward as like here's the sound and here's another sound and you put them together and they make the combined sound together. It's like voltages change according to how many sources there are and what they are, and it's I spent a lot of time just experimenting because I'm like, well, what if I turn this up? That just changes the whole thing, and all I'm doing is changing the volume, and then
Oh.
like suddenly there's like a different quality to the sound. I'm like, how? Why is that? And I'm guessing it's just because this just provides 12 volts and 2 amps of power, and it's got to be distributed somehow. So it just kind of channels the power where it needs it the most. I don't even know. That's
I suppose maybe you're also challenging your mixer, with the volume versus the gain on the mixer, and you're experimenting with all that. I know, again, talking Heimbach again, I mean, think about Heimbach. He talks about his mixers all the time as the mixer being almost one of the main instruments for him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and he talked about, he's done a video recently about all these different mixers and all their
I saw
different
that.
qualities. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And you know what? He's talking about this like the big mixer. I don't know. He's talking about like that mixer type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And what I'm talking about is this.
The little
What do
one
you
on
call this? The
on
little
the
bitty
module.
one right up here. Yeah, the one that I
Yeah.
just kind of plug all my things into. But it's the same thing. It's the same concept.
Mm.
But I think this mixer is way more robust and can handle some voltages so that things don't get distorted or lost when they get combined with each other. Whereas these little ones aren't really designed,
Yeah.
to do what I was doing and maintain high fidelity.
Sure. Would you recommend this type of thing to other musicians or artists? Would you recommend this as a practice?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't wholeheartedly go out and recommend it to anybody. But if there is somebody, if I'm talking with somebody who's into this stuff and who hasn't tried to make a generative patch, I would encourage them because you learn a lot about your gear, the gear that you have, and you learn about how to make use of the resources that you have. And it's like it's another way of composing
Hmm.
that there's like composing where you like have sections of a piece that you need to fit together and move from one to the other. But this is like it's all up here in the head and in the heart, and it's a different kind of composing. And yeah, if someone hasn't tried it yet, then it's valuable for that. I don't know. I don't want a world full of generative patches. I like Bach.
Yeah. Any other insights from the process in terms of what did the video mean to you? Did the video give you any other insights in terms of how the world works? Did the any other insights that this gave you? Because I've had some other insights now based on the videos that I'll share, separately. But I've had some other insights about the world. Other than this, we scroll a lot.
Oh, that was another thing we talked about. I spoke about this, I think, with you about how the music I was making I didn't really like very much because I was not connected to it. Um, and it was kind of funny that we were at the same time trying to connect through torrent, and there was no connection. And I'm like, okay, okay, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk about torrent. I'm talking about musical connection. But that was funny. But yeah, yeah. Where was I going with that? The scrolling
Scrolling, yeah.
like people just cannot wait. It's like an hour long. I just want to see what's going to happen at the end, and you scroll through, and like nothing happens at the end, and the music's the same, or just a little bit different, or maybe like so. What's the point? So that is a fascinating idea, and I really love that idea, and I love the idea of um, taking the things that we see on the screen as okay, this is an image, and I'm going to freeze it, and I'm just going to take one pixel and move it from here to there, and move that one from here to there, and I'm going to change the screen, but it's all the same. I love that. I mean, it's all the same. They're all the same pixels, but they're just in different places, moving very, very slowly. And it's like a cosmic view of the world, and it's like it's a view of the cosmos. Like that's what we're doing anyway. Like our lives are just little pieces of dust that like move from one thing to another, and that's a blip
Yeah.
in the cosmos.
I've got two more questions. How long did it take you?
How long?
Yeah, how long did it take you to create 3 1 hour pieces of music?
I'd say it probably took an hour uh, of prep
Mm-hmm.
and an hour of performance
Mm-hmm.
for each. So 6 hours.
6 hours.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty fast. That's pretty
Oh,
fast, I would say.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And last question. Any final thoughts?
I was wondering how because all of this is voltages anyway.
Mm-hmm.
How could we marry up? How could we actually express a generative patch visually using your technique? I don't. I mean, I've seen video synth work, and it's interesting, but it's not exactly what I want. Like I don't. That's not what I'm envisioning. I'm envisioning it's more something like what you created. Something. Okay, We're gonna use white noise to create a scattered field of pixels, and somehow this music interacts with that field and so the field responds to what's happening in the music.
Ah, you want to turn the experiment on its head. That's very interesting.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that was the one way I felt about that I would feel good about connecting with it. Like I
Mm.
if someone is curious about it, if an audience member wants to know like what it's like to see this music expressed visually, they could, because I've had this problem before with people on the internet. You know how I have this oh, I don't know if you've seen this. I have a giant TV. See that?
Oh
It's
my
like
goodness.
it's yeah, that's I acquired it. So I'm using that to make my oscilloscope look.
I was going to say, I mean, in terms of visualization, you do the oscilloscope thing. You do
That's
something
perfect.
really interesting.
But to make the squiggles on the screen, you have to make really ugly music.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't sound good. It just looks good.
Yeah,
And
because
so I
a circle would be a two sine waves, and it's just completely uninteresting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I make other music and I play it,
Mm.
I just kind of clip it
Yeah.
on to the recording of the screen. And people are like, "Is that And it's like, no, they're completely separate. No, that's not what's happening on the screen. Sometimes they match up, and people are like, "That's amazing." I'm like, "Well, it is amazing because I didn't plan it." But that's always bugged me. Like, I want to make pretty music that looks good on the screen. And again, the video synth stuff, I don't really like. It can be interesting, but not. I
I
just don't know.
think I think with music to video, you end up with the Fourier transform, don't you? You end up with the low notes and all the way along, and then it all dances with the music. You know, like the graphic equalizer thing, and you can
Yes.
only go so far with visualizing that.
Hmm.
You can do it by amplitude, but then how loud is it, and something going up and down. But to actually create a whole picture which changes is that's a whole that's a whole extra dimension to the because you're trying to create a whole field out of essentially a waveform.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what you're thinking about there, I guess, is having something that's a bit more a picture which grows out of the music, which has more of a kind of a feeling or understanding for what's coming, what's gone before. That has more kind of knowledge, maybe.
Wow. Yeah.
Because otherwise you've just got a waveform. I mean, this is stuff that I've played with so much in terms of trying to how do you make a picture out of a waveform, and all you can really do is stack up the waveforms, and then it doesn't really look that interesting. Or you do
Yeah.
the bars going up and down, and again, we were listening to the Microsoft media player, weren't we, in the 90s, and it had all those skins, but all they did was just bounce up and down with the frequencies, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
So yeah. Any other final thoughts?
I don't think so.
For the purpose of the video, I'm going to say, Patrick, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
You're more than
I
welcome.
hope more people will respond to it because, I mean, it's a great way to build community, and it's a great way to build friendships and grow individually too.
If you made it this far into this video, then you probably are into modular synthesis or into ambient music. If you'd like to collaborate with this or some other project, please write a comment below. If you could also go and visit Patrick's channel, I've put a link below. And you also, if you watch the videos that go with this, then it will make more sense in terms of the soundtrack that Patrick made. So finally, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to Patrick Bartmess, and I'll catch you on the next one where we talk to somebody else about this.